Yeah, recently I was invited to a play. A friend of mine was participating, and the title of the play was Today I Fought a Tiger. And when I went to view the play, it was a very interesting setup because the play was done outside in the street and around the building, main building, and this was at the St. Paul's Learning Center in Bristol. And my friend Kabbo, he's also a storyteller himself, originally from South Africa, had a lead role in the play. So after watching the play, I was, really intrigued by what I saw and by the performers. And as part as my WOMAD 2021 tribute, I decided to record the play and contribute the contents from that play to, this tribute to WOMAD. So I was also privileged to catch up with the artistic director of the Lightbox theatre company, who is Emma Faulkner, and also had a chat with Kabbo. And it was a very interesting conversation, and there was many information that's laid within the conversation. So without further ado, I want to introduce Emma Faulkner, the artistic director of Lightbox Theatre Company, and Kabbo, who was also a performer. And just to also engage in the whole WOMAD ethos, the whole vibes of music, arts, and dance. In other words, performance. So enjoy this half-hour interview, at which I'll add some snippets from the play, and then you also can view the entire play with the individual scenes. So kick back, relax, enjoy, and see what you get out of Today I Fought a Tiger from the Lightbox Theatre Company. All right, I'm here in Bristol, and it's been a very interesting journey. So it's been a busy one. I had an event over the weekend, and the following day I was invited to a play, and one titled Today I Fought a Tiger.
Yes, I.
And here in my company, or I'm in their company I should say, we have Emma Faulkner, who is the artistic director of Lightbox Theatre Company, and Kabbo, originally from South Africa,
yes,
and is also an artist in his own rights, an activist, I could say,
Artivist.
So
artivist. I took the two terms, activist and artist, and I
merged them together. Yeah, I love that.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because the stories I tell and the place I create my art from is in a place of comfort.
Yeah.
So hence I can't just call it art for art's sake.
Yeah.
But I've also learned that activism in its own is not always, for me, in my form of expression, enough. And that's why I brought the two together. So I'm an
artivist. I love that.
Storytelling.
Yeah, man. It's just like when people merge edutainment, education, and entertainment.
Yes, so that's what I do too, innit?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, for this Tunes and a Talk program, it's all about creativity, and it's a platform, to highlight creatives, so to speak, mainly music, art, dance, that kind of thing, because that's my world, basically. But I'm going to start with you, Emma, because I realize the
brilliant mind behind it,
you see, that's the thing, the behind the scenes, there's a lot of work that people do not see when these production come, to their eyes. And just from speaking with you, I'm going to touch to the second scene, the guy with the van, you were saying something about somebody you met, that kind of gave a little bit of inspiration and direction.
Yeah.
So enlighten me on that aspect, how this play, in particular, Today I Fought a Tiger, emerged,
Sure. So our own Lightbox Theatre, we, as a theatre company, want to discover stories that are untold or might go overlooked, and all of our work starts with an encounter with a person, and this play started the process about 3 years ago when I met a man in the middle of winter who was in quite a chaotic state outside a van on a street in Bristol. He had a story of displacement from a village in Wales where he grew up, and his journey had taken him on a process of homelessness, right through to like trying to just befriend people on the street to be accepted and to find a place where he could belong. And he, meanwhile, on his journey to find even a place to live, one night he had quite a sort of, I guess, a reckoning with himself about where he was at in life, and this cry for like help and for meaning and belonging kind of consumed him. And he woke up like in the countryside outside Bristol, not knowing what had happened to him, but knew that something had to change. And at that point he didn't have anywhere to live. And the next morning he saw this van, and he felt like it was a sign that this was where he should be. He has a faith, a Christian faith, and he had been crying out to God for help, and felt that this van in front of him was the help that he needed to start him on a new journey in life. And he managed to get it started. He bought it with the only, last notes he had. He drove it into Bristol, parked it up outside this house. It was actually needing a new engine, so it couldn't go any further. And he just parked it on the street, stayed there for a few weeks, started to get to know the people in the area, and felt that there was an acceptance that he needed within himself, that he found in the people around him. So I met him. He told me his story that day in winter 3 years ago in the snow, and there was something so powerful about his story, of feeling like he'd overcome something, and that sort of sense of overcoming started to, I was starting to think about the battles that people, struggle with. For him, there being like displacement, homelessness,
losing his family.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and that story just started something, a process. And then after that, I met a lady who had a miraculous recovery from a very serious illness. Her story didn't appear in the play in the end. It wasn't appropriate to put it in, but that kind of started like a collection of stories over the last 3 years, which have formed
those two stories in particular.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the actual play itself. The title, Today I Fought a Tiger, came from two stories, one about negative body image, somebody struggling with stretch marks, like living with stretch marks, and then another story which didn't make it in, but someone who was involved in gangs, and they were the tiger in their neighbourhood. So yeah, they were considered to be the tiger in that place. And community finding it hard to accept that this person had changed, because a tiger doesn't change its stripes.
Yeah.
So the stories were about things that people had struggled with and moments of change. So that's what I was interested in exploring in the piece.
Okay, so as I say, another person's experience can be a tool for you to also understand a bit about life, engage in life, and a person's story becomes your story, and that's exactly what I'm picking up, because just from another person's story and experiences, it transcends into your mind and create another story. Hence, you also created, a story from it, which is actually true. Yeah. It's not like fiction or fantasy, something made up, it's reality. Yeah. Because what got me interested also, and I'm going to touch back a little bit more, but just speaking on the performance I saw, it was very interesting in a sense. It was done outdoors. You could say there were spontaneous moments, because I didn't expect certain things. For example, like, a storyteller, you Kabbo yourself saying, come, follow me, And it was literally, people had to follow. And I realized we were taking on a journey, a literal journey in such a short space also. Yeah. But what got me interested, there are quite a few elements, but the story itself, each character brought a different element, and I literally felt that change in the space and the moment. It didn't feel like I was just watching a play and just walking around. Every stop, for me, had a different effect and element. Mm. And what was the concept, or whose concept was that to, create the story to be moving around? It's like a mobile story, you know. how that concept came about.
If you take on what Emma said, basically how she would have picked up the stories have been exactly that way. We've just, we've just juxtaposed that setting we use to mimic how she found the stories.
Yeah.
Which was rotation. Sometimes you go around, sometimes you come back, sometimes, that's how we, for me as a storyteller, every exchange I could possibly have is a story. And it is a story worth telling.
Yeah.
Any and everyone. Even if I look out the window in the morning and I feel what I feel, that's a story.
It's a story, yeah.
And it's worth telling because every other being and creature on earth would have a similar experience. Almost by default every day.
Yeah.
So I think what this brought home to me and why I felt so comfortable in just trusting, her direction, trusting the writer, and trusting the other
actors,
performers, was simple because we all could relate. I know someone that is represented in each and every story.
Yeah.
I know someone who knows someone, even if I don't know him.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that we are bringing back the honoring of our own stories, and that's how I live. That's why that's earth language. That's earth language. That's not even, I can say culture and all this stuff here, clever ideas, but that's earth language, culture. We honor each other. We honor our stories we tell. We honor how we allow and create safe spaces for those stories to be told. Even if it's not safe. Even if it's not safe.
But go on.
I was just going to say the decision as well to have it moving was that we had this collection of stories. Liz Mitten, the playwright, who came on board to kind of weave it all together. We were thinking very much about the characters actually are very isolated individuals. They aren't interacting with many other people. A lot of them are quite lonely. And I think honouring that sort of the truth of where they are in life, it had to be in isolation. And that was also quite helpful in terms of putting a show on. When we were emerging from lockdown, how do we safely as well, like rehearse the play, how do we safely take the audience on a journey? It just so happened that the characters' need to be isolated in the piece actually, facilitated that practical need to be safe. So,
and outside.
Outside as well, but it worked. And I think, turning it over to the audience to journey with us. So it wasn't just like come and watch this thing, but it's like we're all active in this journey, connecting with these characters. So that was important for me.
So shifting the dynamics from the story a bit, but to you both as individuals. I'll start with you again, Emma. I would like to, understand how you came into the acting fraternity. I get the impression you're more also behind the scenes more than in front of the scenes, which, it makes...
It's equally important.
That's right.
Equally important.
And what point you got started in all this, Give me and the audience insight.
Yeah. So I'm 40 and I've been doing theatre for 13 years since I was 27, so I was very late coming to it. As a background, I didn't do much theatre and stuff growing up. I was quite afraid of that whole world. My sister, I'm a twin, and she was really into it, and I wasn't allowed to sort of go there and do her thing. But I guess I've always had a real passion for theatre, for plays, the spoken word. I worked in a literary agency in my early 20s when I left university and kept feeling like I was reading all the scripts, but I was on the wrong side of the fence. So I went to work for the Young Vic in London as a production assistant, doing everything from like driving, vans, set, costume, taking doing administrative tasks of notes and rehearsals. And then I was able to make the jump. I did a training course in directing while I was still working at the Young Vic. So I was getting that practical experience in an amazing theatre, which tell like international stories. And then doing my own training on the side, and then after that couple of years I got a traineeship at a theatre in London, and then I got onto a national directing scheme and was sent up to Scotland for a year as an assistant director at Dundee Rep, and then after that I came back to London and set up my own company. I decided that actually the work I wanted to make wasn't going up the sort of pathway of being a staff director at the National and working on the big shows. It was about going to communities and actually going the reverse way and just making work in spaces where work wasn't happening, and starting with the stories that were there rather than what I might have maybe even a few years ago wanted to have imposed, like putting on a classic play and putting it on in a theatre. I felt like that there was enough of that going on, and what I needed to do was just listen to the people around me on a council estate in London and just start making work from there. So that's how Lightbox started 8 years ago. So yeah.
So basically, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, your direction is based on reality.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And how about you, Kabbo? Did it start from South Africa, you know, or where did it all start for this acting, you know, performing?
To tell you the truth, I guess I was always, so when I was born ill with a compromised immunity. And so I was just ill all the time growing up. So when everyone else was running around, I was ill, yeah? So what my mom did then, she just put books in front of me. So there was no television, yeah, so it's just books. So she would just put books there, and the books help. So from being like restless and frustrated, I just ended up reading. I could read, I don't know, from like 2, I think, or something like that, or 3 maybe. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe it was 3, but I could, you know, I could like read stuff. Even if I didn't understand it, I could spell it out, I could say the words. So that's always just happened to me, and that never went away. Yeah. You know, so I just read stuff, yeah. And then as I got a little bit older, my mom passed on and things got a bit worse for me. And I had to find ways to eat, basically. Yeah. So kind of for me, I had to force myself at a young age to know how to express myself appropriately. And luckily, all the reading, because of my illness, allowed me that ability. And then it just went from there. And so I've always been telling stories. Yeah. You know, I've always just been chatting away, just chat. So in the school, my teachers from whatever small form, I can't remember, it was called substandard, that's what it used to be called. So you have preschool, you have creche, then you have preschool, then you have substandard, and then you have standard A, I think, standard B, and then, so we had that system back then. Yeah. And so all through my schooling, they'd say, oh, he has a lot of potential and you should just talk less. And I didn't mean to, it's just that, you know, just what it was. And yes, here I am. So part of that is I've always been, telling stories to survive. Yeah,
okay. And then, you know, the two of you merging both talents together, how did that happen, you know? How did you become a part of the Lightbox company? Or how did you came across his talent, you know?
We were just talking, we were sharing, and we're still sharing a space, an incubation space. Yeah. People who are allowing small businesses and entrepreneurs a space at cost price, which is, we're grateful to them.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate to say their names, so I just won't mention it, but we give thanks to them. Yeah. And that's where we met. Yeah. So she just moved in. I've been in there for like a little while.
Yeah. I moved in about a year ago and got to know you then. But when Liz was pulling all the stories together into the script, we realised that to hang the piece together we had to create a character who we could journey with, someone who was really engaging, very real. Someone who could kind of express the spirit of the tiger. The tiger is the thing in this show, the things that people are struggling with. It's like your personal battle, the thing that you have to fight. And the tiger, we felt like we needed to communicate what that spirit, what the essence of that creature was. So we created this storytelling character, so you essentially interpret for the audience what this thing is, so they can start to recognise it and see what their own tiger might be. And that Kabbo, as you can tell, is a very charismatic, warm, just very real and engaging person. And I think it was instant. As soon as Liz wrote this guide character into it, I'm like, it just has to be you. And I could just hear drumming in it, like the beat, the rhythm, and yeah, this man, you're just perfect. Totally made for this role.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, also I just felt them like to tell you the truth, for the last couple of years coming to a new city, which happened to be Bristol, I had to focus more on just getting to know the environment, the performing environment. So I was putting on events and inviting people who I went to an open mic or I meet or someone just to get to know people. So I was organizing a lot of events. And just maybe 2-3 months before this role became available, I just said, I don't want to do any more events. I just want to be a performer. You know, I haven't had a chance really to deepen my craft. I haven't had a chance because it's all this admin. It's like crazy, you know. It's like people don't even realize. It's like, where do I get time to just be a performer? And so I asked them. So every job I got offered to organize an event, I said no. Even the last event that I'm still going to be organizing now, I even told the people before the idea came up, I don't want to do that. Don't ask me. I end up doing that still. You know, so I was just really asking. I just want to be a performer. I need to work on my craft. I just need to ground myself again. I need to express my own voice again. Yeah, because I've been creating safe spaces, and I'll keep doing that. Because that's the only thing I can do, but I also want to be a performer, that's it. Yeah. And then, so when Emma came with the role, I was like, the gods are real, the ancestors are listening, whoever you believe in, they are real. They are with us all the time. I just thought, I could just see the character came to me. The character called himself Jasper, just yes. Say yes to yourself, man, Jasper. So it was just there, so I was just saying yes to every story. That was.
Yeah, but you say that's the thing, you got to find the balance, because speaking from a person who also perform, but also run my own business, for a number of years very well, it's finding that balance, and not many people can pull it off still. It's not an easy task.
It's not easy. Yeah. It's because you have to survive, and you also care. But it's a ruthless situation because no one cares. If it's your thing, you gotta just run with it. In it, there's no excuses. So, so I feel that. I feel our vibration is real.
Yeah, man. And so before I close off, where I want to find out also, what's and this is for you, Emma. What's the direction of Lightbox Theatre Company? How people can find you. And what's the future? What's your vision for the Lightbox?
We the company's been going for 8 years, and we kind of, for the first few years, we're trying to put on work in theatres and get programmes and get our sort of reputation kind of built. But I kind of feel like the work that I've always wanted to make is work in community settings and hearing real people's stories. So I hope that What a Tiger has got a future life. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of what that show could be. We had amazing feedback, a lot of interest in it, so hopefully there will be a future for it, perhaps beyond Bristol as well. We actually also have to honour a commitment to a play we were going to do just before the first lockdown. It was meant to go on in London. It was a play about women and motherhood, and that play will happen in the next year again, and there will be a community tour. It'll have a professional run in London and then take it back to Bristol, back to this community in St Paul's, and to other sort of nearby areas. with our work, we want to kind of use shows to start conversations, to engage local people who might not have much access to the arts, and we want to use that to start conversations which will prompt more stories that will inspire future work. So that's the idea in the short term. But yeah, just keep...
And how people can find Lightbox?
Yeah, our website, lightboxtheatre.co.uk. We're also on the social media, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Lightbox Theatre.
And I'll make sure also the information is in the description so people can also check the description. Man. And for you, Kabbo, how you see your vision in this world of being the artivist,
Yeah, to tell you the truth, for me, it's been about remembering. So remembering. So the stories I want to tell and honor is I want to restore respect for the mundane. So what Emma is doing and what we're doing together is exactly what I want to be doing. Because the scale and the scope, we can honor our own stories, is what's needed right now. Because in the UK, it's a unique situation, lots of confusion. Let's just start there. We've just had Brexit, still having it, and then we also just are recovering from the pandemic. So it's chaos, What chaos is, in African spirituality we have the polarity, we have chaos and then we have opportunity. If there's chaos, there has to be equal, otherwise the chaos wouldn't be visible, it wouldn't be possible. So there's an equal well of balance that's available to us. So the chaos is Brexit, pandemic, and racism. Let's be real. We have an opportunity now in the UK where we are forced to, just by the situation, to reach out and find new ways to cross-culturally relate. Find new ways to listen and honor and respect each other's stories. Because if you're looking at, if we are in a bowl and we're not all crabs, there's maybe a crab or two in, but there's also other fishing. We can fight amongst each other, but we don't eat the same food. So it's not even necessary for us in that hole to fight. So we need to find a way to make sure we don't contaminate each other's eating spots. And all that means is find a way to respect everybody's belief, everybody's cultural expression, everybody's what they want to choose. For instance, the big choose is now whether people want vaccine or not vaccine. Whatever they choose, find a way where we can just allow people to express themselves, tell their own stories in their own time, in their own words and language, if needed. And we to create these safe spaces, because now we have an opportunity to, because we have to find a way to utilize and create space for all of the different cultures in Bristol. Like Bristol has 92 languages recognized. More than 100 different countries is represented in Bristol. So for us, and I would say we could, and there's other places in the UK, we have to find a way to become culturally cohesive as a collective, as a city.
And before closing off also, because we are speaking about arts and we're gonna put the music, dance and actual art under this umbrella, how do you see it moving forward? Because what I've learned I realized from the last, this whole global madness is where I refer to it as, it has, hit the arts world quite dramatically and heavily, and it's like we've been pushed to the back. So for you, how would you rise above this challenge? Just in a nutshell, how do you see the arts moving forward, the performing arts, which we're talking about music, you know, theatre and all of that. You know, how you feel we move on. Because you could say the government has less interest from what I have observed, but how we move forward as a people, you know, as creatives. You know, what would be a suggestion?
I think for me, just very practically as a producer, I need to keep finding ways to offer opportunities, because the inequality that this pandemic has created, you know, just it's going to be even harder for people to find their way into the creative sector. I think I've got a responsibility as a charity, as a producer, to try and find ways to create those opportunities to listen to people. And the question also our relevance, how we, you know, will people also still want theatre in the same way? It's like we're in a season where we have to listen, work out how can we change and offer what people need. I think they need listening ears right now. We want to make ourselves open, we want to offer opportunities for people just to be heard, to share their story, to rebuild, and then find ways to facilitate them and help them achieve what they want to achieve. And I think that's particularly with young people who have been most severely affected by this pandemic. That is my focus.
I think for me it's just I've been wrestling with that same exact situation, that question you're posing. It's mad, yeah? Bristol, everything they sell Bristol on. Around the world, the millions of people who visit Bristol every year, they sell Bristol on the back of the artists.
Yeah,
You
I
know
agree.
what the mad thing is? Yes, there's no support, there's no industry, no union, nothing to protect. Or even just to support the artists. Nothing. It's like, it's mad. It's so part of me and part of my recovery, I want to have conversations with artists whilst we are practicing our forms. I'm not into like sitting around a table and let's work it out. That's great, but there's people who are good at that. I want the artists to do pieces that addresses questions in an artistic manner, because I'm an artist, I fill in a bid to try and get support for my show. I have to send my bid to a business person in a business suit. And if he don't like the first two words, he just pushes my thing to the side. So for me, we need to find a way to become self-sustaining, support each other's work. That means if you produce something, I come see your show and I buy it, even if it's my last $5 in my pocket. I buy it.
Exactly.
And then I will say, I bought this is important, come support the artist. We need to find a way to support each other, otherwise people are going to treat it like we are just doing a hobby. It's just like, oh no, they don't let ask them to come and do something here. I don't want to be treated like that ever again.
All right, so it's been a pleasure, and I know we'll have more chat, because even just from what I've seen from Today I Fought a Tiger, I could sit here and hold a long conversation, but I just would need people to get an overview of the Lightbox Theatre Company, you know, the production, and plus just you as individuals and people I call creative souls, you know. So it's a pleasure just having this moment sitting down and just, you know, having a conversation, basically. So I personally look forward to more stuff from Lightbox Theatre Company, and even yourself, Kabbo, as an artist, you know, in your own rights too. And as you say, you know, we just have to support each other, and that's my firm belief, you know. There's no such thing as independency, but I believe in self-reliance, and self-reliance can also means you find a way, and if it means engaging with other like-minded people, then so be it, you know. But I completely agree with what you have to say, you know, about how we support each other.
We have to create our own industry. And no one's going to help us.
And that's why, you know, this same thing, why, you know, we are here having even this little chat also, you know. It's about coming together. So even out of the face of adversity, you know, it can create some positivity, and I believe in that. So
that's why we are alive. That's why we are. If there's the chaos over here and I'm not interested in it, I'm not going to be chatting too much about it.
Yeah.
As I said, there's an equal balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this wouldn't be possible. I'm committed to the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm committed to. The chaos is always going to be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm committed there, and that's all of us can tap into that, because that's basically an untapped resource, because everyone's obsessing about the chaos. So we need to bring the scale back. We don't need to fight nothing. We just need to reach out to each other, listen, say thank you, ask please, and just do what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah. You know, and the strong word of support even shows, you know, even with us here having the conversation, because actually, you know, I didn't know about Lightbox company, and it's just me coming out to support a show you know you're doing, because I had my event the day before, which I know you were fully booked on and so forth, but I, you know, coming out, just engage myself in a very lovely play. I was really drawn into it, and hence the connection with Lightbox. So, you know, as I said, the universe works mystically.
I just want to give a special thank to Liz Mitten.
Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant writer, brilliant, next level. I just want to say yes to her. Yes. And also Emma for brilliant direction. Yeah, because it's just, you know, the ancestors don't pick who they pick who they pick. So no matter who says what, the ancestors pick who they pick.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
And also to our whole cast and the support.
Yes.
Give thanks to all of them. Much love and respect. I respect all of them for the short time we had. For them to hold the container, for us to have the experience. Thank you to all of them. And St. Paul's Learning Center staff, Chris, Paul, Joanna and Jem. Thank you very much.
They have been incredible. Thank you so much. And also to the local people in St. Paul's. I'm really aware that, you know, as a company we only moved here a couple of years ago, and people have been so generous and so supportive of the show happening right on their doorsteps. A huge thank you to this community. It's a very special place, and it's been such a privilege just to be here and to put on the work. And I guess just very lastly, like, I just feel like maybe from my own place of where I came from, I never thought I could kind of do this kind of stuff, and I just feel like there's so many people out there who feel like they need to be a certain type of person to like do theatre. Theatre's got this kind of pretense with it, and we've just been doing drama workshops at the Learning Centre on Monday evenings, and a lot of young kids are saying, okay, I want to do drama, but I just feel like I couldn't really do that, that's not me. And it's like, it's just about stories and connecting, and we're all human, and like, if we just start from that premise, that in itself is just enough. We all have value, we all have stories that are important, and that everyday thing that you said, like, the everyday is just so special, and that's what we want to celebrate with this work. And I just feel like if people out there are feeling like, oh, I want to get involved in the arts and theatre, but I don't know how, just send us an email, info@lightboxtheatre.co.uk. We'd love to just listen to you, have a coffee, meet up, see where you're at, and like if there's any way that we can facilitate or give you an opportunity to shadow on a show, get in touch. Internships, we offer those as well, so just reach out, and I'd love to hook up.
So there you have it, people. You know, lightboxtheatre.co.uk. Get in touch, check the description, and we look forward to more beautiful work from Lightbox Theatre. Pleasure having you, Emma Faulkner and Kabbo, and I'm sure we'll have more chats. It's a pleasure.
One love is our only hope. I am blessed.
See you.
Thank you.
Pointed out, today we're going to be
I need a sign. And again, until I realised I was crying. I need a sign! And then I realised I was screaming, shouting down the house. I mean, it sounds weird, but it's like my voice. It was coming from outside of me, like it wasn't really me, but yet it was me on some deep, unknown level.
Sherelle, you still there? No, I'm fine. You see, this is why I'm calling. See, the other day, I was at the bus stop on my way to work, and Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, I'm still with the same kids. I knew deep down I'd always wanted to do childcare, but I found it hard to click with an all-girl environment and deal with room management. It was tough. I never quite fitted in. But people kept saying I should try nannying. So eventually I plucked up the courage to go from where I am to get to where I am now.
I only seriously considered the risk when my heart started to hurt at night. Sometimes the gap between heartbeats would linger a little too long, and I'd wonder if this was it. My time run out. I'd always been terrified of death, but the fear of what would happen if I started eating again nullified even that. I was hopeless. As the doctors at the eating disorder clinic started mumbling about sectioning me, I realised I was nearing the end of the line.
The TV was saying shut down this and shut down that, and what you could and couldn't do. I felt like I was being shut down too. Like an old machine that had gone out of fashion.
I used to be afraid of the dark.
My mental health was getting worse, but I still needed to go out.
It was like, don't let any bit of your body stick out from under the duvet. That kind of thing.
There was people everywhere. Faces covered, gagged by masks, just staring at you.
Travel, work, sleep, same old routine every single day, and when I get a minute to myself, the phone's pinging, friends slagging each other off on Facebook, WhatsApp group noise, emails to answer, bill reminders, Twitter rants about MPs getting rich while they wreck the country. Then there's these nuisance calls about the car accident I was supposed to have had, or the PPI I should claim, scam after scam, constant distractions and interruptions, noise buzzing around my head, sending me into a spin, and then...
It's okay to be upset, I tell her. As if upset doesn't want what she's feeling. As if I have the right to offer that word, or any word for the pain and trauma that she's feeling. Do you want to cuddle? She says at the floor. So I scoop her up and hold her close, daring not to stroke her.
Come through, come. It's clear, there's no tigers around. Come, full in. I've secured the environment. Come along, come through, please.
About the buses, I mean, folk trying to get anywhere, it's a joke, isn't it? I mean, it's all right for me, I've got nowhere to go. Yeah, last time I went anywhere, it was over for the ride by Clifton.
Go deep. Go inside.
That's where my dad was from, see? So, sort of memory lane. It goes down the bus right by the Corrie tap. You know, starts up in Longley's, and then goes right down by the tap.